Impactors, and welcome to another episode of Impactors Out Loud with me, Tracy V. Allen, your host. And today we have with us Brock Williams. And Brock is an author, poet, mental health advocate, and a proud owner of Millenia Xposé and the artistic men brand, helping men of color to heal and overcome obstacles. With the release of his poetic memoir, Shake the Dust Off Your Soul. I just love that title, right? An inspirational, refreshing breath of fresh air, helping men heal, giving them the breath of fresh air they do not know they need. All right, well, welcome, Brock. How
Hey,
are you?
good, good. How are you today? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I am happy to hear because a lot of times we do not get people talking about helping men. It's all about helping women to heal. So when I did see you talk about helping men to get a breath of fresh air that they didn't even know they needed, I was like, okay, this is kind of the conversation we need to have because it's never had, right?
Yes.
So, all right. So before we get started, I always ask the question of what is your cost tale? This is where you tell us what your backstory is that got you to where you are. Why did you decide to work with men? Why did you think that men needed healing? Because most men don't think they need healing, right? So tell us your backstory, your
Well, you know
costume.
what? I've actually worked in the psych field going on 20 years. So I worked with a lot of men and mostly, black men coming up in the field, working from group homes to assisted living to drug and alcohol detox to adult psychiatric. And so I've always had that helpful, caring factor. But oftentimes we live in in a society that focuses towards the females, but as a culture of a people, we believe we don't need help because we're told we don't need help. I can't tell you how often working, especially working with pediatrics, where young boys would say, and I would hear the parents say, and it would bring me back to my own childhood. You know, um, Real men don't cry. I'm raising a man, not a boy.
Mhm.
Oh, go cry to your mama. I don't want to hear that. But the biggest one that I hear is, my goodness gracious, it, what happens in this house stays in this house. So we take that from childhood to our teens to adulthood, believing we don't need help. We psychologically put a cage around our brain and our heart. And unfortunately, that does damage. I mean, what's wrong with getting help? Because in our culture,
Mhm.
and it's okay, and it's okay, but in our culture, we hear, "Oh, if you have a problem, go down the street, make a left, go up 2 blocks, and make a right, and have the pastor put hands on you." That's you know what, and you know what, that's okay, but that goes so far. Sometimes it needs more than that. So, what really got me into doing what I do now is, you work within an environment, so figure out a way you can help and add value to that environment without going to the office. And what better way to do that than to tell your own story?
Right.
So, Shake the Dust Off Your Soul is also about my mental health, but also a helping hand and giving men of color the help they did not know they needed, but desperately needed and wanted.
You said something I wanted to piggyback on when you talked about go down the road, turn the corner, and go up the hill or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is extremely prevalent in the Black community, where we think that that mental health is associated to demons, right? Um, I would never forget.
Yep, exactly.
I will never forget one Thanksgiving. It was kind of like the breakup Thanksgiving for me, right? Where we were sitting at the dinner table. I was like, hey, where's one of my cousins? And um, everybody got silent. I already knew what had happened, those family secrets. So I already knew what had happened, but I wanted somebody to say what had happened, right?
Yeah.
So I said, so where's such and such? And the whole table got right? And then the mom was like, "Oh, he's having some issues, so he's not here today." I was like, "Oh, what kind of issues is he having?" And then somebody else piped up and was like, "Hey, he's having some mental health issues." I was like, "Oh, okay. So he's seeing a psychologist. You know, what type of medication is he on?" And the mom was like, "Oh, he doesn't need medication. He needs God." And I was
Hmm.
like, "What do you mean?" Yeah, she said, "Oh, the pastor's working with him and we're going to pray the demons away." And I got so upset. Okay, I got so upset. I was like, "Are you stupid or are you stupid?"
Yeah. And
You
that's
know?
what we're told from a very young age.
And she's old enough to be my mother, but I was just so mad because he has had mental health issues for years, but he was able to control it for a long time. And then it just blew up
Yeah.
out of, he had one bad incident and it just kind of like came to the forefront, and it was like something that could not be put back into the box, something that
Yeah.
could not be masked anymore. And she's here talking about like he's getting violent, like the whole 9 yards, and you're telling me you're praying away the demons. I said, nothing is wrong with prayer, but he needs help, or he needs mental help, he needs medication. And I think it turned out that he was schizophrenic.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know, we live in a society where getting help, especially in our culture, getting help is a sign of weakness.
Hmm.
It means you're not really a man. Oh, real
Right,
man can handle this. Real man can do this. Oh, listen, when I was coming up, we didn't need medication. Nah, bro. And
right.
I read a study last year where 53% of men of color, black men, saw getting help as a weakness.
Mm,
And we are twice as likely to develop health issues and three times as likely to develop addiction issues. You
right.
know, we don't get help. And there's a
Yeah.
quote in my
Something
book
trying to
that
quiet
says,
the pain.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah,
no,
something
no.
to try to quiet the pain within. Yeah.
And you know what? There's a quote in my book that says, the hardest battles are fought behind closed doors, and the stupidest ones are fought in public and on the internet.
Yeah. Real words.
Yes,
Because you see it
yes,
all the time, right? You see it, people, and I think right now a lot of people are trying to cry out for help. Men, women, but we're talking about men today, but men are trying to cry out for help, and I think that is the insurgent of the red pill man.
yes. We're getting, you know what?
And
I
with
always tell
microphone.
people, you know, there's help. You know, make your health a top priority.
Mhm,
Take care of your mental health. Sometimes you have to say no. That supervisor, hey, you're a good worker. You know, I love working with you. Hey, would you mind picking up this overtime? Say
mhm.
yes or no. You know, just because they offer it to you doesn't mean you have to say yes. You know,
But
I
most
mean,
people are going to say yes because they feel like they need to have a certain amount of money in
yeah,
order to maintain a certain lifestyle so that they're desirable to whomever they choose as a partner, right?
correct,
That
correct,
the quality of who you are is in your bank account.
correct. And you know what? The way the system is going, you know, the inflation's on the rise. It takes two, three checks just to make one single income.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we barely making it with the necessities. So I
Mhm.
understand that level of needing that extra shift, that extra overtime. But you know what? The more you climb that ladder, you know, your mental health is going to decline. Because a little story. When I was writing this book,
Mhm.
um, I was working at a pediatric group home from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. I was doing double shifts,
Okay.
60, sometimes 70 hours a week. Don't ask me why. I just was. And then I was going to school for my business. I was going to business school after that. So, and my
You're
mental
really
health took a toll. Yeah. and it was really rough. So I had to, you know, I had to pull myself back and pull myself down and say, you know what, no, no, because
Do you
get your
think that you were
days and
using
nights mixed up too.
right? But do you think you were using work as a form of therapy? Because the more busy you keep yourself, the less time you have to think about the things going on that you don't want to actually deal with.
You know what? It's so funny you mentioned that because there's also another statement in my book that says the more you become of the present and the future, the less you are of the past.
Right.
Don't look in your rearview mirror. You're not going that direction. But if you
Hmm.
look in that rearview mirror, you can still see the flames burning in the back. So we do, you know, to an extent, psych ourselves out to look forward, to keep ourselves busy. But at the same time, you know, um, I was releasing a book and I was writing another book. And I was, trying to compete with everything that's going on around me.
Hmm.
And while I was continuing putting the book together, this around the time of the George Floyd massacre and the COVID situation, so we were all quarantined. And
Okay.
I would hear the protests not far from my house. And
Hmm.
friends like, hey, we're going to go protest and so you should join us. I'm like, that's dangerous for many reasons. I mean, the whole world was in an uproar. And and I ran out of my anxiety medication. So
Hmm.
I was quarantined. And this was around the time where I was getting off that slope of those double shifts. So, and I just poured my emotions into my reading and my writing and my book. And the more I poured in, the better I felt. So there is that level of distracting yourself from the pain. Absolutely. That
Hmm.
answers your question.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because I have done that too. When I'm in
Yeah.
mental turmoil, I just throw myself into work, and the busier that I keep, the more I can avoid thinking about whatever it is that's bothering me. But
Absolutely.
just like with substance abuses, right? You crash, right?
You
Because at some
absolutely
point in
do.
time, yeah, at some point in time, the work has to stop. Whether it's you get physically ill because you've been working yourself so hard, or something else happens, it's a slow season or whatever, and then you don't have that distraction anymore. And now you have to, quote unquote, deal with the demons within your head. Whatever is bothering you, whatever you're trying to avoid, whatever you're trying to leave in that rearview mirror, like you said, you now have to deal with it. And sometimes it comes flooding back and it hits you hard.
Yes,
Okay.
it
And
really
if you don't
does.
have the coping mechanisms, you're going to end up in a mental health crisis.
You sure will. And you know what? We're a people that, given that our past and
Mhm.
the way this world is built around us,
Right.
to really keep us down, so to speak. So,
Right.
we have easy access, these quick remedies to really make us feel better.
Mhm.
We're addiction to cigarettes, alcohol, fast food, sugar, sodas, video games, marijuana.
Mhm.
All these are instant access comfort remedies.
Right.
And through a culture that's already hurting and struggling,
Mhm.
it makes it that much harder to get a step up. But now you have your mental health to deal with that's also anchoring you down. So now it's one thing after another. So we are the people that is easily addicted to comfort
Mhm.
because we've been told we don't have it, we're not worth it, we don't need it. I mean, you could work like a dog, but the minute you stop and take a breath, they're gonna call you lazy. And
Very
it hurts.
true.
And it really hurts.
It does. It does. What are some strategies that you're using to get men to first acknowledge that there's an issue and then actually getting help?
I tell them all, young people to adults, trust yourself before you trust someone else. You know how
Mhm.
you feel. They don't. If you don't, we don't go to the doctor. I don't need no doctor, man. I'm good, bro. I'm good. A man of color could just got stabbed in the chest. He could have just lost his mother. And if you ask him how he's doing, the first thing he gonna say is, "I'm good."
I don't think it's just a men thing. I think it's a woman
But
thing
you know what?
too.
It's a as a man, that's to be
Yeah.
the providers. It's also a pride thing. It's a
Yeah.
pride thing for men. But you know what? I tell them, if you don't know what you're feeling, if you don't know how to even express it, you know what? You're on your phone all day anyway. Get on your phone. Look up how you feel. Shortness of breath, headaches, sensitivity to light. You know what? Next time you're in Walmart or CVS, you know what? Put your arm in the blood pressure cuff. Check your blood pressure. It's free.
And as you say, you're saying that, it kind of reminds me of the statistics that says that more men between the ages, and I was shocked, 40, from 40 on up, are in nursing homes because they fail to take good care of their health. Forget mental health, just your physical health. And they're
Exactly.
in these nursing homes, legs cut off, arms cut off, can't walk, on dialysis, you
Uh-huh.
name it, like serious, serious
Yeah.
ailments that
Yes.
are crippling. And a lot of
Yes.
them don't have anyone who's coming to visit because they did not make lasting relationships when they were well. So they don't have children visiting them, they don't have girlfriends, or sometimes not even their parents are visiting them.
That's right.
So, and we discussed that, those components of, you know, men in our society today and through the healing process that you're talking about.
You're absolutely right. And the worst part is, I was discussing this with someone, I think last week, on how America, if you go to other countries, they take care of
Mhm,
their people and their health.
mhm,
Switzerland teachers make 200,000 a year as a teacher. They
mhm,
value education. You go to London, you go to Europe, you go to Paris, you see a museum or art gallery or photo gallery or a small cafe on every single corner. When I went
mhm,
to London, you see little coffee houses and bookshops on every corner. Here,
mhm, mhm,
you see a Starbucks, a Dunkin' Donuts, and a McDonald's, and a Walmart on every single corner.
mhm.
It is really sad. But also, I would tell men, track your symptoms, make your health your number one priority. You put your blood in your arm in that blood pressure cuff, and you check those numbers. Look it up on your phone. You could
Mhm,
blood pressure chart. That's free. You know what? You know what? You can go to these support groups and these chat rooms, to support men, local treatment in your area. You know
mhm.
what? You can go to what's that place? You can check your blood for free. It's the plasma center, the blood bank. I'm not. I. Oh, there are options. There are
Mhm.
options out there. But you know that old saying, "Lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink." And
Yeah.
unfortunately, not just black men deal with that, but we as a people deal with that.
Mhm.
We don't make our health our number one priority. Get our physical health leads to our mental health. And the
Right.
number one cause amongst our culture is high blood pressure, the silent
Right.
killer, the
Right.
silent killer. All the foods we eat, and you know what?
Hypertension and diabetes.
Yes, that's the second one. Yes, yes, yes,
Hypertension, diabetes, and that causes heart disease. It causes kidney disease, and then a
yes,
plethora of other things that can happen. It's a breeding ground for cancer. So yeah,
yes.
and the list goes on.
It
But
does. And
where
you
do
know
you
the
think
worst thing. Yeah,
uh,
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
where do you think this education needs to start when it comes to, because, and I'm not man bashing. Trust me, nothing I say here is man bashing. Because I am the mother of a son. I have brothers I love dearly, and I wouldn't want anybody to. I would never man bashing. I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
I think that men and women can coexist equally.
absolutely.
But I'm just looking at how I raised my son, how my brothers were raised, and I think this is my assessment that some of this of the way how men behave is directly related to how they were raised.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
What was taught within the
man,
household, um, while they were growing up. Like you said, I don't think I've ever told my son, growing up that little boys don't cry. That's crazy. Right? So you're telling your child at a very early age you shouldn't have any emotions. To be a man
yeah,
is and to have no feelings. And to me, that lack of feeling that or the emotions that you told your child that he should not have at an early age directly reflects when he becomes an adult and he can't have an adult relationship with a woman because he doesn't know how to say I love you. He doesn't know how to cuddle. He doesn't know how to kiss. He doesn't know how to act and perform in a relationship
yeah,
like a caring spouse or partner, right?
correct.
And using weaponizing competence around the partner, which drives them away. Hence, why they're in these nursing homes by themselves. If you
Yes,
were telling your child not just letting them throw out the garbage, but do work at home. Like I always told my son, you shouldn't have to rely on a woman to have a quality of life. You should be able to have a quality of life on your own, which means you need to learn how to cook, clean, wash, all of the things that a woman does. You need to be able to do it too. Um, because a household is ran by two people, right?
correct.
And I think that is this is my personal assessment. You can always tell me if I'm wrong. I think that is one of the major issues that men are having is that they feel that being a man means I need to be crude, I need to be uncaring, and I need to run the streets, basically.
You know
I
what?
don't have loyalty to one woman, or whether you choose to have an open relationship and that is discussed, whatever, but the loyalty and treat those people like they deserve to be treated. That's
It
just
definitely plays a part because when we hear something like I can't tell you how many times I've heard females unfortunately say, you need to be a man.
mhm.
What if he was never taught how? And the
Right, but
worst
then it's
part
not our
is
job to teach them how to be a man either. Go
correct.
get help. You're an adult,
Yeah,
right? Like I don't subscribe to people, adults, man or woman, using their childhood experiences throughout their entire lives to negate the bad behavior that they
correct.
present on a regular basis. Being
Yes.
an adult means that you need to be self-aware.
Yep.
When does that self-awareness happen for men? It's not my job as your woman to make
Correct.
sure that you are taking care of yourself. Yes, that's part of it, but the biggest responsibility is on you. When are
I
you going to get help?
100%. And the worst part is some men reach a certain age and they're just like, "No, this is who I am. Oh well, this is who I am. I'm in my."
Right.
They
Exactly
just
what you're saying is what a
yeah,
lot of
but you know
people
what? This is who I am. This is who I've been. Hey,
do.
I'm
Right.
35, 36. I'm 42. I'm 48. Ain't no sense in changing now. Like no, you never stop growing as a
You never
man.
stop growing. I
Never.
change all the time.
Don't give up.
All
Don't give up now. You listen to, and then they listen to their friends and their friends' friends, and when you don't, when you can't find something, you either look for it
the time.
or
Mhm.
you'll make an excuse.
Right.
Period. If it's that important to you, you will find an answer or you will find an excuse. And I feel like we're as a society, we're lazy. We're lazy and we just You
We
know,
are.
we've been struggling for so long. It's just like, you know what? I'm done. I tried this and this. I'm through. But yet,
Right.
but
I
yet,
see
you
that
look at the
with a woman.
bandwagon over here with these people. They ain't giving up. They doing this. They going here. Hey, but you know, you want to be a part of that. You want to chase someone else's dream and goal and end result
Mhm.
without chasing your own.
Right.
And it
Basically, you're
shows.
telling them that the earnest is on them to
Yeah.
be adults, right?
Yeah.
To have
Oh,
discernment about themselves and
yeah.
get the help that they need. It's not weak, it's not unmanly
Right.
to seek psychological help, to see a therapist, to see a
Exactly.
therapist that you are comfortable with, but get the
Mm,
help that you need. And this goes for women too. I mean, even though we're talking about men, but the same thing goes for women because it takes two hands to clap, right? In any type of
right.
relationship. So, yeah, I
I tell them
absolutely agree.
all the time, you know what? Men, we never stop growing because the older you get, the more responsibility you have, whether it's internal help or it's paying bills or buying a new car or buying a house, you have that sense of responsibility. And how we conduct ourselves shows a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, I mean, I'm innocent. I mean, I'm 40. I'm
Mhm.
40. But you know what? There's still things that you have to learn as you get older. It's just part of the game. So
Right.
so a quote in my book, at the beginning part, at the beginning page, it says dedication. Um,
Mhm.
dedicated to the peace you one day will find, and dedicated to the life you one day will live.
Mhm.
You know, so I dedicated the book to the next version of you. And you know, one of the biggest quotes I always use is give your all to the day you die, and no one will ever say you did not try. So don't
Right.
stop growing, you know, shake the dust off. Air that soul out. Get up. We got work to do. God ain't done with you yet.
Mhm. Yeah. I like that.
It is.
What is
And we forget.
that? Say the quote again.
Give your all to the day you die, and no one will ever say you did not try.
I like that. I like that. And that I kind of live by that mantra, but I've never said it like that, but I definitely live by that. Once you have tried, like giving it an earnest effort, no one can say that you didn't try, right?
That's right.
You got to get up, dust yourself off, and move on. Things happen to us all the time, every day. That's just life. And I think that's what people get so beaten down by life itself. And
Yeah.
yeah, people
They
get
get
beaten down by life itself and they're unable to pull themselves back up because you need help. Sometimes you can't pull
exactly.
yourself. You need
And
someone to
where the
come and help
addiction comes
wrap
in at.
one hand, one leg, or something and help you to get back up. But if
Yeah.
you have not created those meaningful, purposeful relationships, that is not what you're going to get. You're not going to have anyone extend an arm because all they're going to remember is the hurt and pain that you left them with. And I
That's
think that is the biggest thing that men need to be very cognizant of, especially all the men who end up in the nursing home. Had you been good to the people in your lives, when you were okay, you would have someone. You probably wouldn't even be in a nursing home. Somebody would take you in, take care
yeah.
of you, right? I know that men like to say that we're going to be lonely cat, lonely old cat.
But you know you're absolutely right because I knew someone. I keywords knew. I stopped talking to them for that very same reason, and you know they would push people away so they could have their way. That way, there's no one around to get in their way. They would push people.
Right. Exactly,
And
exactly.
like,
But
yeah,
I think something, we're not going to be lonely old cat ladies because most women are good at forging really good relationships with other women. So there's always going to be somebody, a
yeah,
niece. Even if you don't have children, a niece, a nephew, a goddaughter, a godson who's going to come look for you because you knew how to forge really good relationships. And I think that that's the crux of what you're getting to. Learning how to self reflect, self assess, get help, right?
Exactly.
And
Don't
build
blame
relationship.
anyone for your problems. You can't
Mhm.
keep blaming people for the problem and the situation you're in. Everyone needs a helping hand. Life don't come with a handbook. You know
Right.
what? Iron sharpens iron. And
Mhm.
not only that, too, you think someone I want to say is has an advantage over you or they're better than you. No, no, no. Talk to them. Fan those flames. See what you can take away from that. Learn from them. Don't see them as the bad
Yeah.
guy because they have an advantage you don't know. Listen and learn.
Mhm.
You'd be surprised what you'll learn if you stop talking and open your ears. But then,
Correct.
as men, that pride kick in. I got this. I don't need no one. And then you look around, you all alone. Because when you in that nursing home or you in that hospital, laying up there looking up at the ceiling, don't nobody come to visit you. Why is that?
Mhm.
You're gonna have nothing but time to think and
Yeah.
reflect. And then by the time they come around, you you burnt that bridge.
Yes.
They'll
Yes.
come through. Hey, how you doing? Do you want to drop this sauce? How you doing? Listen, I gotta
Mhm.
pick the kids up. I was gonna stop by here on my way and to see how you're doing. Hope your doctor give you that prescription for that. And hey, I'll see you Sunday service. Gone. Ain't it?
Really. It's true. It's so true. Um, what do you have a group session that men can attend?
We've been talking about that. We've
Mhm.
been talking about that, and um, I've been doing a lot of podcasting because trying to get back because I was diagnosed with COVID last year, back to
Mhm.
back. Like,
Oh, you
and
had long COVID.
yeah, twice
Oh,
in the same month. I was supposed to go on a book tour to
okay.
do in Paris and had to cancel it. And
Got you. Got you.
so I have long term effects, and I was
Mhm.
working with pediatrics, and I had to resign from that because I was no good for the field.
Oh,
But
wow.
we've been talking about that,
Mhm.
and where uh, the year's not over yet. The year's not over
Right.
yet. And we're working on a lot of stuff down the road. It's just right now we don't currently have one, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. No problem. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things. We touched on a lot of different areas. This was a really good conversation. I enjoyed it. And I think it's such a needed conversation in our community.
It is, right?
If you had to leave the men or the women who are with men in the situations that we're talking about with three takeaways, three maybe action steps that
Mm.
they can do to enact change, what would those three things be?
Get out of your own way.
Mhm,
Learn to listen and express yourself. Three,
mhm.
let down your guard because you're not always right. Period.
Yep.
Period. Don't tell me otherwise. I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't even want to hear it.
Right.
Just, you know what? You'll take your health seriously before it affects your mental health.
Yeah.
Because if I knew then what I know now,
Mhm.
because we grew up in the 80s and 90s, we played outside. We were
Yeah.
we were
We
inside, but
did.
the light came on.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Then I was even now I was diagnosed with different health issues. But had I caught onto it early, because
Mhm,
we don't talk about it in our
mhm.
culture.
And you don't
So
go to the
the more
doctor enough either.
the more we talk about it, the more information we'll know about it, and the further we'll go, and the more we can catch it before it advances, and the more help we can do and provide to our family, our friends, and our future.
Right. Awesome. So, what makes you an impactor? I think we already know, but let's hear it. What makes you an impactor?
You know what? History speaks for itself, and there's a blessing in every lesson. And these are confessions and blessings and lessons that I've endured Because over the years I've diagnosed with depression, anxiety. Come to find out that my family history has a lot of issues, and growing up, I was always I was emotional, but it wasn't until I started working in mental health that I know why. You know what?
Mhm.
Come to find out that I have uh, ADHD, uh, whew, sickle cell.
Oh, wow. How did you
Uh,
not know that earlier?
it, it it didn't really
That's usually
expose
something
itself.
that they test for at birth.
It is, but given that my family has the sickle cell trait,
Mhm.
we have the sickle cell trait, so it didn't develop. But I still can't go places and high altitudes, and I'll drop to the ground. So even
Mhm.
when I fly a plane, the plane has to be pressurized, or I
Mhm.
can't go on it. Private jets, I can't do. Um,
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with, oh my goodness, Graves' disease.
Mhm.
You know, now ADHD and depression and anxiety, and now I have COVID symptoms. And you know what? Working mental health opened my eyes, but
Mhm.
helping other people opened my mind. And I listened and I learned, how can I help this person? How can I help this person? And it wasn't until I started working mental health that I really got both hands on the steering wheel and took my own health serious so I could
Mhm.
help other people. And I'm going to quote my girl, Yana Lavanza. You know, you said, your cup runneth over. What's
Mhm.
in the cup is for you. What pours over is for everyone else. So I really wanted to write out my experiences and my situations and my blessings and help other people.
Mhm.
And before I knew it, I was working in group homes and assisted livings and psych wards and pediatrics and girl group homes. And you know what? I went to school in business also. so I'm actually going back for my BCBA. So
Okay.
there's certain things that textbook can teach you, but there's a degree that life can teach you. Only life can teach you. So that's what really bought this book, Shake the Dust Off Your Soul, about this.
Okay. And where can we find that book?
If you go to my Instagram page, Millenia Xposé,
Mhm.
there's a link in the bio that can take you to, you see a slew of information, but
Mhm.
you see ebooks where you can purchase the ebook also. And we're also on Amazon, but the Amazon account needs to be updated. But
Okay.
the link in my Instagram page, you'll see not only Shake This Off Your Soul, but also other helpful ebooks that I've written about, taking a journey to happiness and loving yourself and being
Okay.
there for yourself, showing up for yourself. Because we
Mhm.
live in a day and age where we'll show up for someone else, but not our own people, not ourselves. So
All right.
these are just, I sit back and I write and I ponder and what can I help? What can I do?
Mhm.
You know, we as a people, we live in this because of our culture and upbringing. Oh man, I've done this, I did this, I did that. But I try to break that mentality and I look for more of what I need to do, what needs to be done, than opposed to what I've done.
Okay.
Give your
Awesome.
all to the day you die, and no one will ever say you did not try.
Right. All right, Brock, thank you so much for being a guest on Impactors
You're
Out Loud
welcome. Thank
today.
you for having me.
Truly enjoyed our conversation and the work that you do to try to help men to come out of their shells and take that breath of fresh air. I'm reading your thing. Take that breath of fresh air they didn't know that they needed.
If I
So,
could, I would like to just read you something from the opening passage.
mhm.
Dedicated to the peace you left behind and the strength you will find. May each page you turn unlock your potential and send you on the road to rediscovery, pave the way for a brand new day.
Awesome. Great way to end it. All right, again, Brock, thank you so much for being a guest here on Impactors Out Loud. If you want to get the book and help a man in your life, or if you're a man listening and you feel that, hey, I need to turn the page and get some help, get the book. I'm sure there are tons of tips and strategies in there that you can implement in your life, resources of where to get help from, so that you can become the person that you want to be. Notice I didn't say the man you want to be, but the person that you
Yes,
want to be today. All right,
yes.
until next time, bye bye.
Bye.